Lamar concert really was the most exciting time for me, but what I didn't end up expecting, I would end up losing my keys. When Kendrick came to Atlanta, like me and my friend, we was hyped. Like we left way early that morning so we could beat the traffic. When we was on our way, traffic was at a standstill. Like we waited for about an hour, then another hour, then another hour. Yeah, it was just chaotic. And don't even get me started on parking. Luckily, we had our spots resolved. But supposedly, some people came to see Pearl Jam. Like, I didn't even recognize who that was at first. Yeah, I might be showing my age. But anyway, me and my homeboy, we'll call him Diego, we were walking up to the gate, and man, the lines were long, but luckily it was spread out, so we didn't have to wait that long. And man, let me tell you, like walking them stairs, was no easy task. Like we were all the way at the bottom, so we had to walk all the way from 100, then 200, then 300, man. And don't let me get you started on the merch line, because Diego wanted to get him a short, and man, that line was too long. Like, I tell you, there were like 50 people, and it wasn't even the only merch line. We passed about 4 of them, and they all looked the same. So yeah, we just got our food, and we just walked down to our seats, which was on the very floor. So we had to walk all the way down. Yeah, but luckily, we showed up just in time for Mustard when he started performing. Not gonna lie, Mustard did do a good job of hyping up the crowd. But let me tell you something, when Kendrick and SZA came out in the GNS, like, that was the most hype moment of all time.
It's Atlanta, Georgia, in the house tonight and what? I go by the name of Kendrick Lamar, okay, Lamar, Mr. Morale. This is the GNX Tour, Grand National. Please get ready. 1, 2, 3, hold on.
Man, let me tell you, them tickets were not cheap. So anyway, he started playing some of his hits, and boy, the crowd went wild. And SZA, she did really good. Some of her sets were elaborate, more decorative, and don't get me started on the costumes that she came out in. Like, she really put a lot of money into this. Overall, the show was really good. Like, I enjoyed myself. Diego enjoyed himself. And let me tell you, like, once the show ended and the music started playing in the background, like, I wanted to get a picture of myself in the stage. And this is when I made the biggest mistake. I took my lanyard off that had my keys just so I can get a picture of the stage with me posing. Just in case if I do get famous in the future, I could be like, oh, hey, look at me from a few years back. So let me tell you, me and my homeboy went back to the car, and it took us about 15 minutes because, everybody was walking on the roads trying to get back to their spots. And as soon as I reached for my keys, that's when I realized I lost my keys. You're playing, right? Man, let me tell you, I was livid because not only I lost my keys, I knew exactly when I lost them, when I went to take the photos. So I literally had to walk all the way back to the stadium. I had Diego sit by the car, like just in case. And I went up to security, and luckily they let me in. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to get down to the floor level since they were cleaning up. So they really couldn't do anything for me. They just gave me a number and told me to call back tomorrow morning. And I was like, but I already called the number. Like many times when I would walk all the way here, but she said, I'm sorry. Like, just try to come back in the morning. And man, I was not in a good mood at all. And it didn't even help that Diego texted the rest of the group chat that I lost my keys. Like, did you find your keys? So long story short, like, I ended up deciding to stay overnight in Atlanta because there's no point in taking Uber all the way back home, which is almost 2 hours, and just to come back the next day, because that would just been a waste of money. So I decided, like, hey, I'm just gonna call for you an Uber to take you back home, and I'm gonna stay overnight at a hotel. So that's what we did. I ended up calling my parents. Obviously, they were scared because, it is a big city in Atlanta. And it was like 1 a.m. by the time I called. But luckily, I managed to find a hotel after making about a dozen phone calls asking if they had any available rooms. Because, since a lot of people were staying overnight for the concert. Man, as soon as I went to the hotel, the receptionist, like, she got on my nerves. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, she had me waiting at the desk for about 30 minutes. But, she tried to flirt with me and say, oh, hey, you doing anything this weekend? Are you from around here? Anyways, I ended up getting her number. So the next morning, I ate me some good hotel breakfast. Then I took an Uber after I clocked out back to the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And luckily, I went to the gate and there was a worker there. I told him my situation and he said I could just go down to the bottom level, where I could find security. So it took me about 17 minutes where I walked. but I couldn't find nothing. Like, I even looked on Google Maps. So I ended up approaching two guys and were like, hey, do you know where security is? And they pointed in the other direction, which means I've been walking the wrong way. So yeah, I had to walk about another 20 minutes to find security. And honestly, he couldn't really do anything for me. So I ended up leaving, and I had to call my parents and tell them, hey, y'all might have to pick me up. And luckily, they were willing to do that. But a few minutes later, as I was waiting, they called me and said they were able to get in touch with security over the phone. And they told me like to go down to the other side of the gate. And let me tell you, I walked around that whole stadium around 2 times already. 2 times. So I had to walk another 30 minutes down the street. But luckily, one of the workers spotted me and she led me into a building where she had me seated, while she looked for my keys. And let me tell you something, about 5 minutes later, I got my keys. They had me sign a few documents, but after that, I was lucky to go. So I happily walked back to my car, and I was ready to pull out, until I had to pay the freaking park spot. So overall, lesson of the story is, do not take your keys out for any other reason. Like, have that locked up over your neck or just something. Because let me tell you, like, that hotel bill wasn't cheap. My gosh. So anyway, hope y'all have a lovely day and catch y'all on the flip side.